Hi, and welcome to Heroic Tourney, the show where, well, this isn't actually Heroic Tourney, this is sort of the intro to Heroic Tourney. But it's a show where basically we take players, we have them run through an adventure, new, old, ones they're familiar with or not, doesn't matter. What system, doesn't matter. But we run them through, we look at how they performed as players, and then go through and have the judges look at how they did, review them, give them feedback, send them out again, lather, rinse, repeat until we've spent a little bit of time with them and they know what's going on. And see if they can adjust their play styles, maybe improve them, do things like that. That's sort of the whole basic concept behind Heroic Tourney. It's also supposed to be entertaining, we're going to have fun. Judges are going to show up, surprising big luminaries in the RPG industry. We want to get as big as we can and have them sit down and talk with people and give them one-on-one feedback that we'll film and allow everybody else to look at. Meaning that if you watch enough of the shows and hopefully we get enough good ideas and good feedback, everybody will have fun and enjoy themselves. So, this is Heroic Tourney, like I said. It's what our plan is. We're here to first entertain and secondly make everybody better role players. And I think that we'll be able to do all that and make a buck or two while we're at it. So, since this is part of the preview thing, I sort of wanted to give everybody an idea on what they can expect people to be judged upon. It's peer review is essentially what the concept is. We're going to be doing things like looking at how they perform in 5 different categories. 5 categories because this is not going to show you very much. But those 5 categories are basically role-playing, it's play immersion, mind's eye, what's in their imagination and story support and helping everybody else. You've got things like teamwork, style, and problem solving. All these are the things that we want people to look at and deal with so that they can become better role players and handle things better. Now, if you're a player, you should probably watch these introductory videos in order to get an idea of what you should bring to the table. Things you should look out for, opportunities you try and create for yourself in order for you to score the highest points possible. Now then, if you're a GM, I'd like you to consider looking at these 5 categories and sort of envisioning in your mind how you'd like to see or ways you could have people show or give them opportunities at the minimum on how they can do these 5 categories of role-playing, mind's eye, immersion, role-playing, mind's eye, teamwork, style, and problem solving in your game, so that way they've got an opportunity to show off that they can do it. And then judges, I need you guys to look for these things. So again, you kind of need to know what the 5 categories are, what people are looking for, what they're trying to present, and what the GM's giving them opportunities for, so that way you can then go and look, hey, you did good here, you didn't do so good here, so on and so forth. Take it all one step at a time. So for this introductory video, though, we'll just start off with the basic thing of, what are the 5 categories, and the first one is role-playing. It's play and immersion. It's basically getting into expressing being somebody else other than yourself in thought and deed, action and reaction. So what we're looking for is that, can you be, Ophi the mighty Viking warrior, even if you are, a 4'8", raven-haired New Mexican who's never stepped his foot outside of the United States? I hope so. I think that most good role players could do that, even if those 2 character types are not exactly aligned in the typical people's imagination. The second category is mind's eye. And it seems like it might be related to role-playing in that, you're imagining yourself being somebody else. I mean, that's inside the brain. Why isn't that the same as role-playing? Well, it's about keeping track of things that are relative positions and things like comprehending the other characters in the GM's creation. Do you understand why the Viking warrior behaves the way he does, even if you're not playing him? Is not only the GM able to tell you where your character is, but can you present and understand what your character is on even without there being a board or other support mechanisms? So that's sort of the thing, is that, do I have a clear line of sight? Probably. Tell the GM, hey, this, that, or the other. And it also influences things like, for example, if the game has cheat chips and you think there's a reasonable chance you could do something, you may not need the cheat chip if you can just convince the GM into doing it. Again, that's having a mind's eye, understanding what he's projecting and taking out and adding more verisimilitude to the entire campaign by making things that make sense. Should be pretty simple. The next one is, of course, teamwork. I mean, if you're a role player in a role-playing game, I don't want to play with you if you're going to be somebody who just stabs me in the back and sees the game as something where everybody is out for themselves and there's no reason why we should be doing things as a working group and we shouldn't be able to operate together. Or, if they want to be a lone wolf and not part of the team, it's good in some stories. It's terrible in a role-playing situation because the people can't trust you. They, it may fall underneath the teamwork issue in that, well, not necessarily teamwork issue, but it may fall underneath the mind's eye. Can you present and roleplay a character who is such a solo person that they don't need anybody and they're not going to work with anybody? That's not very much fun, though. So we want to have people be part of the team. We want them to be able to, support the party no matter their position. It doesn't matter whether or not they have abilities that look like they could be supportive. You should be able to just take them out and figure out how to support the rest of the team, even if it is holding the rear half the session. The next one is style, presentation, and humor. This is a TV show. We want people to be, enjoying it. We want them to have fun. We want them to see that these people here, that role-playing is not professional, or at least not at this point, but that role-playing is something that we can achieve high levels with. I want a newbie player who looks at the show to say, hey, that's how you behave at a table. Or like a GM to be able to present some parts of these shows to a particular player and say, I'd like you to see, try and do this or that a little bit better. Here's something you could have fun watching and doing at the same time. Maybe learn a little bit. The next step is problem solving. And underneath that is sort of resource management. You have people who are really good at understanding mathematical puzzles or, solving issues where people have, a particular social construct and they understand how to get in there, go in, make the little modifications that make life easier for the team. That's great. But it also includes things like, do you have enough food and water? Do you have spikes? Do you have, enough rope to do a mission? Do you have the horses and supplies? Do you have guards to guard the stuff you need to? Are you looking at having enough supplies of everything to have logically thought through like your characters would and solve these problems in a much shorter time than a lot of the preparation would be? Most people, would spend a week or more on a caravan getting it prepared. What are you going to do? And for a role-playing game, that'd be a really boring week. Okay, here we're going to spend 4 hours role-playing the first day of us planning the trip. That could get a little boring after a while. So it's one of those things where you need to think quickly, use your experience sometimes out of game, bring it into game context, and deal with it. So, and make it more fun for everybody. That's part of the real goal. So those are the 5 basic categories. And again, I've sort of outlined things that we expect from you and other people who they look at them and perform their abilities, and that's basics of it. I'll go into each one a little bit more in depth later on. Provide examples, more structurally integral to the particular ideas we're presenting after, in the next couple of videos. So if you want to, if there's a particular one you like more, like problem solving, skip to it once it's posted. Check it out first, but you should probably eventually, if you want to be on the show, if you want to judge, if you want to GM, you should look at all 5 of the videos so you have an understanding of not only the overall context of the game, but the little details and some of the ideas I've looked at and thought about from my own experience as a role player and how we should do this later. So, thank you very much. Have fun. I hope you enjoy watching what becomes Heroic Tourney.